Welcome to Punky's World. This video will go up in my cancer and health playlist. I'm here to talk about the NVLD project and what NVLD is. It's called Nonverbal Learning Disability. Columbia University Medical School is trying to get it in the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health. Now, because you have a learning disability doesn't mean you're mentally ill, but it's an issue with your brain. And any issue with your brain is in the DSM. No matter what it is, whether it's Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, any issue with the brain. Now, until it's in the DSM, a lot of people don't take it. A lot of people don't consider it a diagnosis. This is what the NVLD project says of nonverbal learning disability. People with nonverbal learning disability, NVLD, struggle with a range of conditions that include social and spatial disabilities. Often they are marginalized and isolated. Consequently, they can experience social barriers throughout their lives. Someone with NVLD may struggle with, and I will read you the whole list, because I think that's really key. Fine motor skills, i.e. using scissors, tying shoelaces, pencil grip, etc. Gross motor skills, throwing a ball, riding a bike, etc. Spatial awareness, bumping into people and things. Organization and planning, activities that require multitasking, staying focused, recalling visual information, peer relationships, reading social cues, interpreting social interactions, handling and understanding new and novel situations, interpreting nonverbal communication, i.e. facial expressions, posture, tone of voice, etc. Understanding idioms, humor, and sarcasm. Reading comprehension, essay writing, understanding charts and diagrams like maps and graphs. Math skills, understanding fractions, geometry, shapes, and word problems. Okay. That's a lot. And I have to tell you, I tick virtually every box. Like I said, I know I read you a lot there, but I will put the website, nvld.org, in the description of this video. The definition was written by researchers at Columbia University Medical Center in collaboration with members of the NVLD Project Advisory Board. So, let me tell you about the NVLD project. The NVLD project, or Nonverbal Learning Disability Project, is dedicated to raising awareness, building support, and creating helpful solutions for children, adolescents, and adults with nonverbal learning disability. It is a 501c3. I'll also link their Facebook page for you. Now, as I said, I tick basically every box. They can't rule out autism, except that usually in autism, they're spatial functioning. They're doing the hands-on, the hand-eye coordination, and they're doing the hands-on and maybe building something or stuff like that is very good, and their verbal skills are not so good. So it's like this, but it's in the opposite direction. I'm like this. My verbal IQ is up here, and my spatial or functional is down here, which is what I was always told, but there was never a name for it. And when she introduced me to this yesterday, I was just, so I'm going to have a FaceTime with my friend and her daughter who works with disabled people to talk to them about it. I sent her daughter the website because it is very similar to autism, except for the great verbal and phonetic skills that a person has. I am as socially awkward as they come. I don't do well with change. I can't tell, like when I talk to people, I don't know whether they're joking, whether they're serious. I don't know it came out. Look, don't say its name, it might run away. Hasn't been here all day, so my thermometer lied to me. Anyway, all the things that it mentions, and having trouble with fine motor skills or even some gross motor skills. Yeah, and yeah. You know, it'll be interesting because I've known my friend for 35 years, I think. If I read her that list, she's going to say, oh my gosh, that's you. You know? And yeah. So there's a lot more on the site. I'm going to watch some videos about it because we thought I had autism, and I might not. I might have both. Because I do have things like I've never been good with loud sounds. I hear things before other people do. Like I heard the blower kick in the office. She said, you know, people don't mention that. You heard it. I said, I also heard children upstairs, which is weird. She said, no, it's not weird. There's actually a hospital upstairs. The kids get a little raucous. My word, not hers. She said they tend to tip over chairs and go a little wild. She said, but those are things that most people that come here, these evaluations, don't notice. And she knew I was easily distracted because, first of all, I told her that, and second, I cinched my watch up because it kept banging against the table and driving me crazy. My necklace kept banging against the table, and I held on to it. You know, whatever it was that I was, you know. So I'm very noise sensitive. I always have been. That's a trait of autism. That's not necessarily a trait of this. So I could have both. Because this is a lot like Asperger's. And they removed Asperger's and made it called high functioning autism spectrum disorder instead, leaving a lot of people feeling a little, you know, because they had a name for their disorder and all of a sudden it was taken away from them. So and people with Asperger's do tend to be verbally intelligent. I do much better orally at things. Getting it from my brain to the paper is very difficult. And that's one of the big hallmarks of this particular learning disability, it's about how your brain functions. Like, I will hear something, and the way she explained it is partly because of where my brain damage is. I told her, so I would get so frustrated, and my mother would get so frustrated with me because she would say something to me, and I would hear what she said, but I wouldn't process it, and I would make her repeat it, and it would frustrate her. You know, why aren't you listening to me? I am listening, but it's just, she said, that is literally going in one ear and out the other, because for whatever reason, unless you're, and totally focused on it, your brain, the area that processes the information and sends it back to the filing cabinet, doesn't work correctly. So it doesn't send it back to the filing cabinet unless you really concentrate on that one thing. Otherwise, it's not going to be sent back to the filing cabinet back here. So it's processing. Sometimes I don't process speech at all. And I had told my mother that I hear you, but I can't process it. And so, and part of that is from where my brain damage is from my CP, because my brain damage is right in that area, which also controls impulse control. I'm very excited about learning about this disorder and hopefully, this learning disability, and hopefully it getting into DSM so that disability services in every state or commonwealth will hopefully be willing to help people with this disorder, this disability. I don't know whether I'm going to get the help that I need or not, but I want to publicly, right now, thank the doctors of the Columbia Medical School for working so diligently in coming up with this diagnosis. That's the right word. This diagnosis, its criteria, and working so hard to get it into the next DSM. Or maybe we can make an amendment. I know they make amendments to the DSM. So that's what I'm praying for, and I ask all of you to pray for that as well. Because that will help with services. If it is a recognized diagnosis, it will help people get services. People like me and a lot of little kids that won't have to endure what I did. And that's my biggest goal. Yes, I want the services that I need, but even more importantly, I want children with this diagnosis to have a name for what they're going through, and the proper therapies and whatever it is that they need to to live the most fulfilling life, the best life that they can. I think it's important. Yeah, sure, like I said, I need services. Not only because I'm learning disabled, but because of all of my physical disabilities, which you witness every time I make a video. And, but to me, at almost 50 years old, it's more important that children with this diagnosis get their diagnosis legitimized. Get it in the DSM, say, this is a real thing, these kids need help, these are the helps that they, these are the services that they need to make their lives better. Because you can't change my childhood. You can't change anything, you can't change that, what parents don't understand. If my mother had known that I had a processing problem, when I would say to her, I just didn't process it. She said, you need to pay attention. If she had known that I had a processing disorder, my mother's the type of person that would have said, look at me, and she did sometimes. Listen closely, and she did sometimes, because I think she had an idea that I might have a processing problem, and would have said it to me and had me repeat it back, so that hopefully it got into the filing cabinet, so to speak. And you know what I mean? My mother would have been a great help for that. And I was sitting there listening to her, wishing my mother was still here to hear it, because she would have been awesome at that. And my father was a very smart man. Understand, he was very intelligent. He just wasn't educated. My father stopped partway through the 9th grade to go to work and take care of his much beloved mother and his brothers. He had priorities, and they weren't finishing school. So for him, it would have been more of a challenge to understand. My card is on. My memory card with November on it was on the floor. So yeah. And again, thank you to the psychologists, excuse me, and the psychiatrists, and the neuropsychologists and neuropsychiatrists that at Columbia that have come up with this diagnosis. And you know what? Not only will it help parents interact with their children who have this disorder, to have a real name to it and a recognized diagnosis, but it will also help special education teachers. It truly will. If they're taught what to look for and how to make, the referrals to get the diagnosis, I think that's so important. And given the skills and the knowledge to teach a student with this type of disorder, I think that's critical. And like I said, that's not going to help me. I graduated 30 years ago, but it's going to help another kid in some 4th grade classroom somewhere struggling and not understanding why they're struggling, not understanding why it feels like nobody likes you, and you you're awkward. You don't know how to talk with other kids, and you just feel weird. You know, we'll help them, and maybe help them overcome things that I didn't have the tools to overcome at that age. So I'd just get lost in a book and with my professional wrestling. So again, I will link the NVLD website, project website, sorry, and their Facebook in the description. Please share this video with your friends and family who might have, and I'm going to share it all over the place as well, who might possibly have this disorder. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Please subscribe. I want to get to 100 by Christmas, and we can do it. We are at 87, which is amazing. My nails are such a mess. I've got to put that new stuff on them, but I gotta get the polish off. The new polish was empty. Anyway, not the new polish. The nail polish remover was empty. Yeah, so terrific. So I'm looking forward to this to help me out. How bad does this smell? Oh, it smells just like nail polish, actually. That's good. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.